Hello and welcome back to the 3Commas platform. My name is Jessica and we're going to dive into the world of trading just a little bit more. Now you might recognize the two guests that I have joining me now. I'm joined with the Trading Parrots, Mariano and Matthias, and we're going to be taking a look into 2021 in review with them, also how they find the platform and some inside things they're looking ahead to into 2022. So both of you, thank you so much for joining me first of all.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Great to have you both. It was great to catch up and I'm really excited for this conversation. And for our viewers that maybe aren't familiar with you guys as much as the others, can you give us a little bit of an introduction just to how you came to meet each other and also some of your background before you came into the wild world that is trading?
Yeah, that's kind of a long story, isn't it, Mattia?
Yeah, we can shorten it to the last 5-7 years, maybe.
Yeah, I think the common words are probably, engineering, coding, working together in a team in different environments, mostly to do with financial and banking. So I will say that's kind of the core of what we've been doing together for many years. It's been like more than 5 years. I don't know.
Yeah, almost 7 years, basically working fintech here in London, mostly focused on the mobile app ecosystem. Yeah. We've been working basically at the beginning when I came to London, actually 7 years ago, with Mariano, and then on the last experience that he had on banking. And that where we developed not just friendship, but also like a shared fun for tech and engineering in wide sense.
Yeah, and now crypto.
And now crypto, yeah.
And the rest has been history. And for a lot of our viewers that have kind of stumbled across this video on YouTube that maybe aren't in cryptocurrency yet, of course, the 3Commas platform is very open to traders of different varying levels. A lot of them will be really curious just to find out how you guys got involved in cryptocurrency in first, and also how you both began trading. So maybe Matthew, we can start with you.
Mm-hmm.
Good one. So I started by mining Bitcoin in 2009, but I had to sell the Bitcoin I mined back then because for money. So one of the regrets I have in my life. And I also got a bit burned by the 2018 bubble. So after that, I got a bit detached from crypto. But then when Mariano started working a little bit more, and he can explain that, he kind of teased me to lure me back into the world. And when we started working together in the community, I felt like mesmerized about the progress on technology and the evolution of the whole world about crypto. So basically last year, this year has been the year where I got really into it. Kind of learning by osmosis of what we've been doing for the Trading Parrot, really.
Yeah. It didn't take that long. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead. I was just going to say this is the best year for you to get involved in crypto. So well done, 2021.
Definitely.
What about you? What about yourself?
I was going to say that it didn't take that much to tease you, Mattia, to crypto. I mean, in the beginning of the year, things were doing really, really great. The first leg of the bull run on BTC was particularly attracting thousands of people, if not millions of people into this domain. And I have to say, I started earlier, a little bit earlier, but my first attempts were just to hodl. And I actually have a sad story because I cannot find some of the hodling that I did so many years ago. And I've been trying to get access to an email account where I suspect they are the private keys. If someone finds those private keys, good for them, because it must be good money. But later...
We got like a lost wallet and a mine Bitcoin where we saw like we literally have so much regret.
Every time they say, and all those dormant accounts in Bitcoin, I think, where is my Bitcoin? What is it doing now? But recently with the COVID and with all the extra time that we have due to being locked down, we all have a lot of extra time. And I think that kind of boosted up our interest to do some other things. And I kind of felt in love with the platform, with all the things that you can do. And I never stopped. I started experimenting and getting more results. And it became quite addictive to see that every step of the way, you can make it even better and even better and even better. And we still haven't stopped.
And I think that's a really, really important element, because as more people do find out about investing, then that does open a gateway into trading. And
Yeah.
I'm fairly new to 3Commas and I'm still navigating my way through the platform. But for me, I'm really interested to hear how you first heard about 3Commas and what some of the first experiences were like for you both.
Did you hear about 3Commas before joining the Trading Parrot, Mattia?
No. But yeah.
For me, I was experimenting with another platform, which I think is from the mid 80s, called MetaTrader, where everything you do, you have to code it in C. And it's very advanced, very time consuming, very complex, and it's usually a platform for very nerd people and geeks. And I was experimenting with that, with artificial intelligence, strategies and stuff like that. But it was taking me so much time to achieve things that at some point I really needed to strike a balance between complexity and the power of the tool. And when I found 3Commas, I was falling in love. I even have a video being super honest, that like I found finally the light at the end of the tunnel. This is powerful, but it won't consume me months to do all my research. And that flexibility was the thing that attracted me into 3Commas. And I think that was around August, July 2020, something like that.
Yeah, for me, like knowing 3Commas thanks to Mariano was literally the last nudge I needed to get fully involved with trading in crypto, because I generally believe 3Commas has lowered the access barrier for trading with crypto and with bots. You make way easier to do that, and it broaden like the audience for people, even people that are like me. I never really traded in my life apart from typical investing that you can do from apps, but knowing that you can do that with bots, you can configure with something that's kind of like user-friendly and accessible to everyone, was literally an eye-opener.
Yeah.
And what kind of experience do you have then? Because you'd said that you kind of had finally then, Mariana, you said you finally had found like a platform that would make everything a little bit easier for you. Trial and error is kind of a big thing when it comes to cryptocurrency tradings. What were some life lessons that maybe you have experienced along your journey that you can give some of our viewers today?
My God, there's so many. I mean,
we have all the history, we have all the history in the logs.
Everything is logged, everything, unfortunately. So yeah, when I started, I went through a similar journey that most of the users when you land in the platform, that you get super excited when you see Bitcoin is doing well, and you start pushing yourself to do something even more aggressive and more risky, until you get to a point where Bitcoin does what it does, which is to correct. And then when you get those corrections, the bots, that's the time where you usually take all the lessons. We can say it that way. And I remember September 2020, and there was a correction. That was the final correction before starting the first full official bull leg of the bullish market. And there was a big correction there, and I took a lot of lessons, and I still have one of the videos where I'm explaining which bots I was running at that point, and they were very aggressive and they got hit. So probably half of all the profits that I made in those 2 months was taken away in one day. And that's exactly how 99.9% of the people learn what they shouldn't do. And then from there, it's a continuous learning curve, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I echo what Mariano said on that. And I mean, even on a smaller scale, like I think those failures really helped improving the knowledge and the resilience of the platform, the bots, the strategies and everything. And you start learn by doing and by failing.
Yeah.
And people typically say as well, you're not a true cryptocurrency investor until you've lost 50% of your portfolio. And I think without the support of these kind of platforms, the same is also said for cryptocurrency trading as well, perhaps. So now when it comes to favorite 3Comma tools that you use, and maybe there's something you use more regularly than others, for people that are new to the platform or also experienced users, what kind of tools are your typical go-tos?
For me, overuse probably the DCA bots, second by grid bots. And I think that the answer also depends in which type of user, because we need to make the distinction between beginners and people that are in middle, halfway through the journey, and people that are really advanced. And obviously, as the Trading Parrot, I learned to split between these things, because not every bot everybody's gonna love it. Some people are gonna find something too slow and too passive and too conservative. Some other people are going to say, no, this is too much for me. I don't know how to manage it when things go wrong. So personally, I like the conservative bots and DCA and conservative grid bots, something that ultimately give me the free time to do something else and leave the bots actually doing the work. Whereas many people, they prefer very aggressive and they spend the whole day with the bots. So it's end up being like an experience of being a manual trader, but with bots. But it's not really this set and forget experience that everybody is pursuing.
Myself, I'm more like junior mid-level kind of trader, which is good in a way, because for the Trading Parrot, I'm more focused on the technology side of it. It helps me get into the thinking of like the average kind of user, which still doesn't have the much knowledge about how bots and trading itself. So I try to play with conservative DCA bots. I stay away from futures, for instance, and stuff like that. And I don't fiddle much with grid bots because they take too much time. So I try to think how much I can work less with the platform and automate as much as I can, everything I can do.
Work smarter, not harder. These are some very good tips as well, and I'm making a note for all of these as well. Now, just outside of 3Commas, but just in general with cryptocurrency trading, and you can reference 3Commas as well, but a lot of people do expect typically in December there to be quite a volatile month for cryptocurrency prices. And then January, typically you do tend to see a little bit of a retracement. So for both of you as separate traders that both have your own different strategies, how are both of you going to approach the next 2 months? And maybe Matty, I can start with you.
Oh, yes, very good. Like I'm a hardcore hodler in a way. Most of my portfolio is like long-term crypto. I hold on separate wallets. So that's why I'm not particularly worried. And I have actually accumulation bots to basically accumulate on the dips. So I have long-running bots to accumulate like DCA to accumulate on Ethereum and BTC, for instance, because I'm believing them. And so I'm going to use the actual dip. I'm waiting for a dip in a way. I know it's hard to say, to simply accumulate all the time.
Fantastic. And Mariana, what about you? So we've got one waiting for the dip. What about your strategies?
Well, I'm relying on two things. First of all, I'm relying on one of the things that we use in the Trading Parrot, which is called the bot orchestrator. And the bot orchestrator is, as the name implies, is something that automatically decides when the market is too hot and sends a signal to my bots to stop when things are running too hot, when the risk is too high. And hopefully that signal is the time where I want to stop my bots and then stay on the side. And I use that for many of my bots, but I have to say, I trust much more what I see with technical analysis. So the implementation of the orchestrator is half automated and half what I do with my own technical analysis behind the scenes. And what I'm looking for in BTC in this next 2 months is there any parabolic movement? If I see a parabolic movement in BTC, it's for me time to ring the bell, to sound all the alarms and say, well, this is time to slow down with my exposure to bots, to hodling, to everything, because obviously we want to see Bitcoin going in a slow uptrend because that's sustainable. If it does a parabolic and it explodes to the sky, that's the time to run away, to switch off everything and to take profits.
Take profits and move to an island like the one in your backdrop as well. Just enjoy.
Just a warm island, yeah.
So you mentioned one of the features there. So now I'm going to ask you both if you could collaborate with 3Commas product owners in the future. Is there any features that you would like to develop on the 3Commas platform that maybe we haven't seen yet in the future?
Mattia?
Well, I mean, we already, how can I say, from our side, from a tech point of view, we literally stretched the adoption of working with their APIs and webhooks and the tools as much as we could. Our dream is to basically integrate what we're actually building for our community directly inside 3Commas. So I know we are working to actually release our first apps, the 3Commas marketplace, but once it be more integrated. I don't know, Mariano, if I can announce, but basically we're building a language, a query language.
For it.
We call the bot assistant query language, basically a way for a user to define in kind of declarative syntax what they want to do with their own bots. Basically, you can say, I want my bot to trade certain pairs, certain criteria, or change some condition potentially in the future according to the market. Now, we are going to implement this as part of our product, which is called the bot assistant, where we basically change the pairs of the bot they are trading according to the statistics, like R6 or rank. Mariano can explain more than me. And we're going to leverage that by having deeper integration with the 3Commas ecosystem.
Yeah. So we have already rolled out something called LCBA, which allows users to pick which tokens you want to trade. And automatically this system goes to your bot and decides exactly which pairs every hour are the ones that have the most upside, which ones are more healthy. And for that, we connect to something called Lunar Crush. So people can say, I want to trade only the top 3 tokens here, the ones that are more bullish at this time, or the ones that they have highest upside. And with the introduction of this new language that we will love to integrate with 3Commas, people are going to be able to express in the bot exactly which tokens they want to add to the bot every hour based on rules. Like, for example, I just want to trade the ones that have the highest social volume, that they haven't increased more than X percentage in the last hour, and they have an old rank above between 1 and 5, but the Galaxy score is between these range. So things that are very complex are going to be very easy for a user to experiment with.
Very interesting. And I think these kind of ease of use that we're hearing about more and more definitely have a huge appeal for new traders and new investors as well. So it does sound very exciting indeed. Thank you for showcasing that. Now what I'd really like to do is to actually play a little bit of a game with you guys where I'm very curious on your thoughts on some of the cryptocurrency tokens that are in the space at the moment. So the 3Commas team have thought of a little game called Trade, Hodl and Avoid. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you guys some tokens as names, and I'm going to ask you if you think it's an interesting token to trade, give me a thumbs up. If you think it's an interesting cryptocurrency to hodl, you're going to just show your hand as a hodl. And if you think you would avoid it, you give us a thumbs down. So we'll do it at the same time. And I'm curious to see if your answers are similar or if your answers are a little bit different.
Let's see.
Are you both ready?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Amazing. So we're going to start off with Solana. Hodl, trade, or avoid? 1, 2, 3. I'm in agreement with you guys there. What about Monero? 1, 2, 3.
I could say trade.
You could trade? Okay, we have 2 trades here. And why is that, out of interest?
I think I've seen quite a lot of volatility, and many of us that we are doing either grids or DCA bots, I think that's always part of the opportunity,
This is interesting because I'm new to trading, so I would have said avoid because of its volatility. So I need to change my mindset from investor into trader. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you one that has kind of surged in interest this year. Polkadot, would you trade, would you hodl, or would you avoid?
For me, it's
I was moving from this one.
I'm already hodling, and I can
exactly,
so I cannot lie.
Well, the first we started hodling together, actually, yeah.
Okay, that's why you're smiling. That's why it's been a good year. Now, Bitcoin, would you trade Bitcoin, hodl Bitcoin, or would you avoid Bitcoin right now?
I mean, I hodl and trade, but mainly hodl.
In between.
Yeah.
And you have to keep your private keys safe this time as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now this one's an interesting one. This one's been talked about a lot this year. Axie Infinity, would you trade, hodl, or avoid Axie Infinity right now?
Uh, at the moment, I've been trading when LCVA is giving me that is hot, but I got rid of it once I was in profit. And I think it could be doing some accumulation period. And so I know why Mattia is a little bit like, get rid of it. So there could be some accumulation. Long term, I think there's still room for upside.
And Mattia, what about you? How come you decided to avoid Axie?
I mean, it's kind of word which I personally like not involved too much in that around games. So I think it's gonna be so much competition, which might undermine like the growth. Just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to ask you both for one golden child of digital assets to trade right now, do either of you have a favorite?
Well, at the moment,
I don't want to jinx it.
Okay. Maybe tell us in a few weeks.
I do like. I do. I mean, I think it's weird to say. I mean, it's not the best, but I mean, if you talk about the non-DeFi, I would say Crow is definitely something that has exploded and might still grow up, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
In the DeFi world, I am kind of traditional, and I will stick with Ethereum.
Yeah, and personally, I really like Voyager. Many people know in the channel, and some didn't understand why Voyager. And it was actually in a downtrend, and everybody was getting burned. I was holding strong, and recently it did a huge pump, and I think it's got a huge potential as well because they are planning to launch in Europe. So it's one of those tokens that, wow, I mean, they could compete with Crow and eventually and launch worldwide.
Very interesting. And so the DeFi space is also an area that you guys are keeping an eye out for now as well.
Definitely.
Okay. Interesting. Amazing. Well, guys, thank you so much for your insights as well. It was great today to hear a little bit more about what you guys are up to. And thank you so much for your time.
Thanks to you. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure too. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just as a little side note to our viewers as well, so we also do have a new vertical called 3Commas, which will include tools specific to the DeFi space as well. So if you do want to have any more updates on that, you can also follow us on Twitter at 3Commas or check out the dedicated site, which is dcommas.io. So guys, feel free to check out as well. And we would love to hear your thoughts. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching and great to catch up.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you very much.
See you later. Bye-bye.